there might not be anyone that's on, so that could be what's going on too. But I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So I'm super excited today to be talking about the red-tailed hawk. It is my favorite spirit animal, and I've got a lot of really awesome information to share with you today, and we'll be doing a quick little meditation as well. So I do have some notes, so I'll be reading off of those and then sharing some insight from a book. Sorry, I am a bit stuffy today. I am really allergic to grass, and I was at a music festival all weekend, so I'm still trying to recover from being around the grass all day. So let me grab my notes. Okay. So just to kind of start off, if you can put a question, or I'm going to ask some questions throughout this so that you can participate a little bit easier in the live. And the first question is, what comes to mind when you think of a red-tailed hawk? So when you first think of a red-tailed hawk, what is it that you first think of? Is there any associations, anything about the animal itself, the guide, anything that speaks to you? And you can put that in the chat. And for those watching on the replay, please also do participate with this as well. This is to help gauge participation, to just kind of have some easier ways to interact with the video. So the question is, what first comes to mind when you think of a red-tailed hawk? So just a little bit about my personal history with the red-tailed hawk while you're answering that question is I've always felt a really strong connection to the red-tailed hawk, even as a child. So it's one of the first animals that I remember like seeing out in the wild, just, you know, sitting around on light posts, on trees, flying through the sky. I just have a lot of memories of seeing them. It truly is like my totem, the animal that's been with me through my whole life, through times of need, through times of crossroads and decisions. I just have a really strong connection to the animal. And I do see them regularly. I'll often see them on light posts, on trees, fence posts, and I've had a few encounters, which I will explain a little bit later. They are common. So about the animal itself, they are a raptor bird species, and they are widespread and common throughout North America. They're mostly found in open and semi-open habitats because they do soar, so they need to have that open space to really be able to fly. And there's two kind of main varieties. There's a few other sub-varieties too, but they're a little bit different between the eastern and the western varieties. So the Rocky Mountains are what generally split the variety. So you'll have a slightly different bird on west of the Rocky Mountains and a slightly different bird east of the Rocky Mountains. And the variety on the West Coast is a little bit darker. So they have a darker overlay on the top feathers especially, but they do still have some of that lighter underneath, but generally they are a bit darker on the West Coast. You'll see both. They are the same species. It's really just a little bit of a different variety across the two regions. They have a variety of different environmental types. So they can be found in marshes, they can be found in a forest, in a prairie, and even along coastal sea regions. And the environment itself is actually a really great way to start working with the bird. So if you think about what the bird is doing in that environment, will give you a little bit more about the energetic connection that you'll have with the bird and with the magic that you're working with. So the red tail comes the feathers on the red tail come in when they're about 2 years old. So they're actually brown when they are a juvenile, and then as they age, around the 2-year mark is when the feathers will turn red. And they can live up to 14 years, so that's kind of the general lifespan as long as, nothing happens to them. And this is really significant because it aligns to the 14th card in the tarot. And that card is the Temperance card. So we'll get into that a little bit more later as well. They do prey on all different kinds of animals, everything from small rodents to reptiles. They eat lizards and snakes, birds to, honestly, they will eat just about anything. They are a really versatile hunter, very adaptable. They can thrive in more urban environments, and then, very wild environments too. They are really built to soar, and their wingspans can average a little over 4 feet. So they're quite a large bird. The females are much larger than males, and this is typical for raptor varieties of birds. Their eyesight is about 8 times better than humans. So I think that is really cool. They actually have the best eyesight of all the raptors, and they are tied with the owl. So the owl has about the same 8 times better eyesight as humans as well. So they are tied for first. And they have a third eyelid. So I think this is a really cool feature. And actually, I did not know this until I started researching about the bird. So they do have a third eyelid, and it's essentially a shield. So if there's a lot of wind or rain or something as they're flying, they're able to pull this eyelid over, and it protects their eyes while still letting them be able to see. And they also use that when they're diving, so that if they're going down really quick, they're not going to have anything get stuck in their eye, but still be able to see. So the birds generally select a mate for life when they're co-parent for life. So they'll pick the mate. They are almost always with them for their whole lifespan, and they do co-parent together. So they both sit on the eggs, and they both raise the offspring until they're ready to fly on their own. And they often will have courtship rituals too, which I think is really cool. So they'll fly around. The male will bring food for the female as well as a gift. And they do this really cool courtship ritual in the sky, and they'll lock their talons together, and they'll do a spiral dive down towards the ground. So I think that is a super cool thing that they do, a really neat ritual as well. Hi, Ronette, how are you? It looks like I have comments, which I'm really excited about, and I think you are the only one here so far. I did ask a question, so I'll just ask it again. And for those on the replay, please do answer the questions. And the question is, what first comes to mind when you think of a red-tailed hawk? There's no right or wrong answers, just, the first thing that comes to mind. All right. And then the second question that I have is, what does a red-tailed hawk guide mean to you? It is really cool they co-parent, and I actually really like that it kind of timed out with Mother's Day. I'm sure a lot of mothers feel one of the best gifts could be co-parenting with them or taking care of the kids for the day, give mom a break. And I'll just kind of go through this part again, but for me, the red-tailed hawk, what it means to me is being able to see things higher than my current perspective. I've had a really strong relationship with these birds ever since I was a child, and just being able to see them help guide me in the direction that I need to go. It's truly a totem for me, and an animal that I connect really deeply to. Often when I will be kind of like at a crossroads in my life or needing to make a decision, as soon as I'm feeling the decision that I need to make, I'm like, okay, this is probably the way that I'm gonna go. I will often see a hawk, and it's really amazing that timing happens a lot for me. And it's really been a guide for me to know that this is truly the right path. I feel they're a very good protector as well, and that I will be protected on that path. So that's how I personally work with them. Again, there's no right or wrong answer to any of these things. That is the way that they show up in my life. For me, I see them as an energy director. So if I'm at that crossroads needing to make a decision, it gives me that sign to direct my energy onto the path that I want to be taking. And they provide feedback by giving me different signs. So I often will see them and say it's a confirmation, kind of the same thing, choosing the road. And then if I'm on the path, it does also give me a confirmation. Not if I'm necessarily trying to choose something at that moment, but if I'm thinking about something, I often will see them too. And it's a confirmation that yes, this is the right path for me to be on. And then for me personally, I do have natural red hair, so I kind of feel that red feather connection too. So that's just something I, again, personally relate to. So Ronette says that she thinks they're majestic and good luck. Oh, I like the luck aspect. I think they could definitely be seen as good luck too. So another question, oops, I always need to remember to turn my computer monitor off, or screensaver off, I should say, so that the monitor stays on. Okay, probably have to do that a few times. So I have had a few encounters with them. One of the most amazing encounters that I had was actually when I lived on the East Coast. So I'm from California originally. I'm back here, don't plan on really leaving. But for a few years, I lived on the East Coast. And this was when I was living in Cambridge, Massachusetts, right outside of Boston. And I was going through a lot in my life. I think it was a big awakening for me. I was a young adult, 21 at the time. And, you know, at the time I had broken up with what I thought was the love of my life, and just going through a lot. I had a lot of career changes, a lot of family trauma I was working through. And it was just a really big time of awakening for me. So I was seeing a Reiki healer, and she was really helping me kind of work through a lot of the trauma that I was carrying physically. And I had just finished a Reiki session, and it was really very intense for me at the time. And so I decided to go walk along the Charles River, which is right, you know, where I was, and stopped in a park. I think it was Memorial Park, if I remember correctly. And so I went in there and just kind of sat down, and you know, some trees and everything near the river, and kind of a garden park area. I had a book, I had a journal, and I was just sitting out there for a while, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I was like, do I want to stay out here? Do I want to move back home? You know, what direction am I taking my business? Like, where do I want to go with all these different aspects of my life? And I was super overwhelmed. I remember like crying a lot at the time, just sitting by myself, like really releasing all of this like pent up energy that I had. And right when I was wanting to make the decision to move back home, this huge red-tailed hawk literally just landed in front of me where I could reach it, and it grabbed a squirrel. There was a squirrel, it grabbed it and it ate it like right in front of me. And it was like it like locked eyes with me, and it looked at me for quite a while while I was holding the squirrel. And it brought it up to like a tree branch and finished eating it. And then it flew back down, and it was walking near me, kind of like picking up scraps and just you know, hanging out a little bit. And it was a little bit scary because they are quite large, and it was within a couple of feet of me. And I'd been there for a while at the park, so was pretty still, and I was the only one in the area that I was in. And yeah, I guess it felt comfortable enough just to eat in front of me and come back down. And yeah, it just kept looking at me. And that was actually a time that I made like some really big decisions, that I did want to leave Boston, that I wanted to move back, that I wanted to make some changes with my business. It was just a whole lot of things going on at once, but I actually was able to really get that direction. And for me, the symbology of eating the squirrel was like a death and a reincarnation of aspects of myself. So that was how I connected to the hawk at that time, was, you know, this is no longer serving me. This is not who I want to be in my life anymore. And that it was time for me to release and give that part back to the world, to the universe, and then evolve and take flight as the new version of myself. So it was a really amazing experience, and at just a really critical point in my life where I was feeling a little bit directionless, and the bird truly gave me direction. And that was the most impactful encounter I've had with them. I haven't had anything else really like that, where they just fly up next to me in that way. I have had a lot of encounters of them when I have been horseback riding. So horseback riding is a really big part of my life. I don't know if this is how other people feel, but I do see a connection with the red-tailed hawk and the horse. And so a few times when I've been riding, there was a hawk over near a marsh area that I used to ride. It was a marsh hawk. And it did live in like the tree areas near where the arena was, but it would often fly down where I was riding, and it seemed like it was watching. And so it was really cool that it would just fly down. It would sit like on the arena fence, like super close to me and my horse. I felt like my horse had like a really cool connection with the hawk too. And yeah, would just like kind of hang out and fly. So that was really neat. And I've seen them a lot on trail rides and things too. So those are some of the encounters that I've had. And if you've had any encounters yourself, I would love to hear those as well. So please drop those in the chat. And you can do that here on Facebook or on YouTube once we post it there too. All right. Ronette, I love that your oldest son is obsessed with them. I think they are just a truly majestic animal. And I do love that they are like more common because it gives you the opportunity to see them at those points in your life, like, you know, more regularly because they are around, and they just kind of, you know, find a way to show up at the right time. They're truly amazing like that. Thank you. Yes, I do think that there for sure is Native American connection with the bird and the hawk too. That's not a path I have personally studied much, but I've definitely seen images like that, you know, where they have the hawk and the rider and things too. So I know that there is some connection to that, just not something that I'm personally well versed in. All right. So just about them a bit spiritually. They are known to awaken your visionary power and your life's purpose. So if you think about really any bird of prey, right, they're soaring really high above the sky, and they have that typical bird's eye view. They can really kind of see what's going on from a much higher perspective, and that change in perspective can really change how you're looking at something. They can see things differently than if you're looking at something at eye level. And they give you an idea of what your direction should be because they can see where the road is going. They can see if you're on a really windy, rocky road, or if you have one that has a dead end, or one that, you know, is a beautiful view as you're going along. And so any bird of prey would be able to see something like that really well as they're flying up in the sky. And then their vision as well being 8 times greater than humans, I think is really neat because they can just see so much better than you can. So they are also known as a messenger bird. Whenever they show up, you should pay attention. So they often will mean, seeing them will often mean that there is a message coming to you. So their realm is the sky. So of course, you know, they fly in the sky, and no surprise that that's their realm. And when you think about the sky and the realm that it represents, it often can be like communication between spirit and humans. To a lot of different cultures, these types of birds represent deities like Mercury or Hermes, and being able to connect spirit or the gods to the human and being able to transfer that message back and forth. They are tied to Kundalini energy, and this is the energy that you would want to work with primarily for this animal. They will often come out when you have Kundalini energy activated, and the root chakra is the one that they are heavily associated with. And that surprises me a little bit because often you would think a bird maybe higher, like the third eye or something, but they are very, you need to be very grounded to be able to work with this bird. So working through the root chakra is the one that I definitely associate them the most in my practice. And what I did find with my research, there is, you know, other lines of thought too. So, you know, take what works for you, but this is related to how I work with them. So another thing that's really interesting about the red-tailed hawk is that they are often harassed and attacked by smaller birds. So a lot of people that have this totem have had this happen to them in their life. Maybe they've had people bullying them or harassing them, just really kind of attacking them as their character too. And it's often because people don't understand the differences that you have or somebody with this totem would have. Maybe you are just a little bit different. Maybe they're a little bit scared of you, and all of these different types of things are connected in with the red-tailed hawk and their energy. Let me turn this back on just to make sure it stays connected and everything. Okay. And the bullying that people with the hawk totem have, what happens with them is that it inhibits their ability to soar, and that happens to the hawk as well. And so they have to learn how to defend themselves and to get out of the situations where a flock of birds may be territorial and be harassing them, because they can't soar, they can't hunt, they can't do their thing, and they have to be able to get out of that situation. Sometimes if they have a mate, they will come and help. And same with the other birds, right? They can kind of gang up on them. So there's different ways that they can get out of that situation, but it is something that they have to learn how to do. So that is a big connection, and maybe a sign that you would have this as a totem, especially earlier in your life. So we talked a little bit about the connection to the Temperance Tarot card and the number 14. So with the hawk and the Temperance card, it's all about the teaching of the development of a higher expression. So these birds are really connected to psychic vision and having that. For me, I connected to this bird at a young age. I had life experiences and things that activated Kundalini energy probably a little too early for me, and was challenging to work through. And also had bullying in aspects as well when I was growing up. And so I do feel that the hawk really helped me get through a lot of these different things, and helped me guide where I needed to be with psychic vision so that it wouldn't take over in a bad way. And so again, this is going to be very personal to you and your personal life experience, but they are known for being able to help teach you and develop your higher expression, because it is that higher bird's view, so they can help you with that. They are linked also to astral travel and astral projection. So being able to project your vision, your ability to be in another place or time, to see things in a different way through astral travel and projection, all kind of is very interlinked together. So in being able to do this, the hawk will help you find the balance. So if you think about doing some type of astral projection or trying to be in a higher state, especially if you're not ready, you're going to feel really off balance and maybe feel like you're falling. But the hawk is able to guide you in a way that allows you to find that balance and soar in that type of environment. So they learn how to fly at a young age as well. They kind of get kicked out of the nest and they fly. And so that's really part of the life of the bird and what they're able to help you with. They are, a bird of prey, so they can have a very intense energy and an intensified life force. So this is something that anybody working with these birds or with this totem needs to be very careful of, and think about the way that you express yourself so that you're not seen as a predator who is going to rip your head off, right? Jumping down, when the bird was eating the squirrel, that's the first thing they did, is rip the head right off. And you don't want to be seen as somebody who's just going to, come and rip your head off. It's not pleasant. And there's a time and place for that. But if you're just doing that all the time, that's, not going to be the right energy to have. So the bird can help you connect to an energy that will be able to use that in the right place and harness that energy in the right area. So another cool thing about the bird is that the feathers generally get a bit lighter in the summer and a bit darker in the winter. And this is really cool because it represents the cyclical aspects of nature, and that, you know, in the lighter, it has a more joyful and social energy with the summer. And then the darker reflects the phases of being alone in the winter, and being able to prevent burnout in yourself. So I think that's really cool, is that duality within this bird as well, and then it shows up in their feather patterns. And again, something that I connect to, my hair does tend to lighten quite a bit in the summer, especially when I was younger. I'd get like really blonde streaks in my hair. So I think that's another kind of cool way I personally connect. So that is all on the information that I have. And so I want to do a bit of a little meditation. So I'm going to try and turn my camera around and hopefully not make you all like crazy dizzy. So give me a minute to get that. Let me check the comments. So Ronette mentioned that she believes they bring something from our past loved ones. I absolutely see that too, especially with kind of that Hermes Mercury messenger, where they can go to the underworld and back. I can absolutely see that, and I definitely feel that too. And also Ronette mentioned that you can imagine them thinking you're a threat and then they don't like you. Scary. Yes, absolutely. So you know, they can be seen as really handling the ecosystem, kind of just picking out food as needed, or just being a crazy killer out there. So you definitely have to not be threatening and think about how, you're only doing what's needed to sustain. All right, so let me try to turn this all around. I'm probably going to have to take this off. And let's see if I can. Here's my little setup. Now I'm going to try my best to get this here. Hang tight, everybody. Okay. Figure out. I hope I don't have to hold this. It's never easy to do this. I might just have to hold this. Okay. Because, yeah, that stand does not want to work. Okay, grabbing my paper. All right, so what I've got, these feathers are actually not red-tailed hawk feathers. They are from my chickens, but I do have a red chicken, and they, to me, symbolize the red-tailed hawk feathers. So these are her wing feathers, but that's what I've got going on there. And then this is another chicken that I have, but she actually, and her breed is known for looking a bit like a hawk. And I find her feathers to be really beautiful hawk-like feathers. It looks like my charcoal is like pretty done. Hopefully it will, I think it will still work. So I'm gonna bring some more incense here. And this will be like a really quick little meditation. Hopefully that's hot enough. There we go. Thank you. I'm glad that you like my altar. It is my desk, but I just created this really quick for us. All right. So find a quiet space and take some deep breaths, ground yourself, straighten your spine. You're welcome to close your eyes. And let's take some deep breaths and center yourself. So imagine a majestic red-tailed hawk soaring above you, its wings gliding effortlessly through the sky. Notice its keen eyes, its powerful talons, and its vibrant red tail. Feel the wind beneath your wings and experience the hawk's freedom and strength. Imagine if you were flying high with the bird and what that would feel like. You've now gained a bird's eye view of your life and your surroundings. What do you see on the path that you were walking? Observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment, just as the hawk would scan that landscape. Connect with the energy of the hawk. Ask for its clarity and its courage and its connection to the natural world. What is it that it has to tell you? Bring your attention back to your breath and notice the sensation of the air entering and leaving your body. Stay present in this moment, just as the hawk would be attuned to its own surroundings. Don't allow your mind or your thoughts or feelings to carry away. As you look down below and you look at the path you are on, what do you see? Is this the right path for you? Is there anything on this path that you would change? Is there anything that you would take away? Think about these messages and return your vision further down the road. Breathe in, breathe out, and soar. So as you come out of the meditation, think of what the bird has given you as a guide. Connect to the path that you were on. Were there any, you could think about any paths that you may have seen that were offshoots of the road that you're on. Were any of those paths ones that you'd want to take? Was there anything that you would remove from the path you were on that would improve it? Those are all things that you can do as you're connecting to the hawk, and questions that you can ask as you connect to the hawk. Spirit of the red-tailed hawk, messenger of the sky, I honor your strength, clarity, and vision. May your gifts of insight and protection guide my path. Thank you for your watchful presence, and may your wisdom illuminate my way. Okay, so let me try to switch this all back again. Put this back. I've got to get the hang of the move. Okay, are you all still with me? I'm not sure what happened there. It was so weird. Okay, sorry about that. Still trying to learn all of the technology aspect. It is not easy, let me tell you that. Everything turned back off. Okay, so hopefully this is still on. Trying to see on my computer. Bear with me. Okay, let me see. I am not sure if we are live still. Okay, looks like there's a big delay, so hopefully it's still on. Okay. Ronette, are you still here? All right, I'm just gonna keep going and hopefully it's working. So I did want to just read a little bit out of this book. It's called Animals Speak, and it is written by Ted Andrews. So I know this is a pretty common book, and I think it's great. I really like working with this book and being able to connect to different animals and things, and it does have a lot of info about birds. I think that is really cool, and it does go into just a lot of info about the hawk throughout different parts. Okay, good. I'm glad you're here, Ronette. I got a call, and then it just everything at the same time as I'm moving it. So anyway, we're back, and I'm going to read a little bit out of this book. So, okay. The red of the red tail reflects a greater intensity of energy at play within your life. It reflects an intensity of physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual forces. This bird is the catalyst, stimulating hope and new ideas. It reflects a need to be open to the new or shows you ways that you may help teach others to be open to the new. To the Pueblo, the red-tailed hawk was known as Red Eagle. Its feathers and energies were used in healing ceremonies and for bringing the rains and waters necessary for life. To the Ojibwa, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, it's Ojibwa, the red-tailed hawk represented leadership, deliberation, and foresight. Hawk is akin to Mercury, the messenger of the gods. Hawk medicine teaches you to be observant. Life is sending you signals. The red tail can spread its wings to a great width, and it can teach you to use your creative energies in the same way. It can extend the vision of your life. The beak and the talons are always commented upon by observers. They are the most striking features of any hawk, especially the red tail. It is a fearless bird. It will even take on poisonous snakes. It has a scaled leg to help protect it against poisonous bites, and immediately upon grasping its snake prey, it tears off the head. So I wanted to just read a little bit about this book, and I think it's really cool to, just be able to connect to this animal. Yeah, I love hearing kind of the stories about that. So again, that was the Animals Speak book. It does have just a lot of information about how to connect with different animals too. And it's not unique to the red-tailed hawk. They have all different steps and things throughout that you're able to connect to. So, hi Jody, welcome in. Well, this is really the end of the live. So thanks for bearing with the technical aspects. Are there any questions that I can answer? All right. Well, if any questions pop up, please do add them in the chat, and we'll keep an eye on it, and I will take a look when I can. And I hope that you both have a great day. Bye.